says got it.
Got it.
Here we go.
Okay. Oh, there we are. Cool.
Oh, just a second. I jumped right onto YouTube.
All right.
All right.
Marvelous.
Hello, hello, hello. I think we're live now. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's live podcast series, the Introduction to Livzenastrology podcast. I am so excited to be offering this series and this particular guest, this beautiful soul who is helping me, who has decided to help me launch this series. And I could not ask for a better co-host and being of light, Lissa Finelli from HeartShine Healing. Welcome, Lissa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Carmela. Thank you so much for the invitation. Goodness, I'm so honored and excited and thrilled to be here, actually. It's been, I know, in our awareness in our fields for a long time, and to see it in its fruition is just magic. So awesome.
It is. It's been a long journey to get here. And, you know, you and I have had this passionate, interesting relationship with astrology since I've known you, since we've met back in 2018, was it that we met?
Yes.
And so we've definitely had a lot of common bonds with energy and, you know, quantum energy, and just, we have so many interesting conversations. And this is such a poignant time and space to be able to have these conversations out loud and really speak on things that we're passionate about, things that interest us, and things that matter, especially with this time and space. Things have been shifting so much. And so I'm excited to learn and hear about your story, Lissa. You know, I know it as a friend and as a tribe sister, but it's beautiful to share, you know, why astrology? How did you end up here? How did you end up, you know, with astrology and with, well, basically, you know, because you dabble in lots of different fields of studies. But today we're going to focus on astrology and everything around it. So Lissa, tell us your story. How did you end up here? How did you end up where you are now?
Ooh, all right. Well, I would say from at a very young age, fascinated with the stars, fascinated with the unknown, or just, I guess, knowing, just being a perpetual student and just wanting to learn and experience. And that still holds true today. But I would say it was a natural pull, and then mostly mentored by my grandfather, who was also very passionate. Music, stars, very smart. And he told me, I remember he told me, take a look at your pinky. He goes, take a look at your pinky. And I said, okay, I'm looking at my pinky. Took the nail on your pinky. I said, okay. He goes, that is Earth. Now, the rest of your body is the universe. And that just was like, whoa, like that totally, he was able to relate that to me. And then, which I was so fascinated with it. And I feel like deep down there was a familiarity for me, memory, I don't know, just fascinated with the beauty. So fast forward, when I was younger, probably under 13, I was just really interested in stories. Mythology was really big for me. The fantasy was always big, Star Trek, like all of the space, like even Johnny Quest back then in the day, like the unique, the quirky, and I don't know, I just was like, wow, this is so different, you know? And I really got attached to mythology, and then I really started looking at the stars and the constellations, and then the stories behind the constellations and the archetypes behind, and listening to the heroine, you know, the villain, the contrast. It was just so interesting for me. And I loved English. I loved like reading comprehension. That was all. I think most of my, and some history, I would say, but yeah. And then I just started looking at the sun, the moon, the stars, and I got this book that somebody gave me on horoscopes. I mean, I think I was, oh goodness, I think I was like 9 or 10, maybe younger. I remember they had like a biofeedback machine in the mall, and you'd get this biofeedback. It had a little horoscope thing on there. And I was like, every week my mother would bring me, and I was like, oh, and I was just like so fascinated. What does it have to say today? What does it have to say today? It was just, all these memories are just coming back. So anyway, and then I started really studying it and like wanting to know more about it. Like, what does this mean? And I believe the essence of it was to know myself, really, to know myself more. Because I saw familiarity in the stories, in the archetypes, in the keywords or the descriptors of the energy that describes Aquarius, because I mean, I was born February, so Aquarius sun. And totally quirky, I could, oh yeah, I like to be unique, and like I always interested in the new. And so then as I got older, it kind of fell away. Still had an interest in astrology and numerology and colors and animals. Like, so all of that kind of wove in between the astrology because they were part of the constellations. And it just became a passion of mine. And it was interesting to see the different energies and how it related to me and my body and my mind and my emotions. And what I always think, even today, what I think is pretty fascinating, you could reflect on, I could reflect on how the week I'm having or the day I'm having, and ride the wave of emotion and energy or energies. And then just kind of glance down at the astrology and go, oh, like that, the meaning of a specific transit or a alignment rather. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, and not really looking to astrology to dictate my day, but almost as a reflection of the energies consciously and almost unconsciously through just reading it. Like I didn't realize what the aspect is today, or a specific combination of energies that kind of related to how the day I had or yesterday. And I believe with astrology has been used to really talk about events, like with certain major events that have happened in the world. Then you look at what was found, like for example, right, Uranus, that planet was found, I think during the space exploration launch, like in the same time period, or Pluto, the planet Pluto was found when the nuclear bomb was created. Like, so you have all these energies that are in the collective awareness, and then you kind of look back and you go, oh wow, that's pretty interesting. So I think that's why astrology for me is just fascinating, to really acknowledge the energies and knowing that I am connected to it, and how to navigate and maneuver through the energies, and just enjoying the stories and just seeing the relatability within myself and others, really, and how we all interact. So
now, is it just Western astrology that you study, or are there different aspects of astrology and stories with different cultures that you play with or study?
I studied everything. So because so as I'm growing up in society, I was born in Gen X, so I was born in 69, and during that time,
really, sorry, shout out. That's just fun. Gen Xers. Just a shout out to all the Gen Xers out there.
Exactly.
That was a fun time to be alive.
Yes. And of course, like, it's where you were yourself then more, I think,
Yes.
hanging upside down from trees, doing roller skates in the parking lot, wearing 2 different socks. I mean, like wearing neon like crazy, but it was a time to be yourself, like, and especially during that time period of that before teens, I would say, you're really genuine and channeling the divine and being your unique self, right? And of course you grow up like everyone else, and then you have all these belief systems, and you're supposed to do this and supposed to do that and fit in and this and that. So then what happens is you get to a point where you start kind of losing that aspect of yourself. with astrology, it helped me kind of to reconnect with that aspect. As I was growing up and then being in a corporate environment, college and all that, and all of that, doing things that I thought was I supposed to kind of follow through with, I lost myself along the way in a sense, or lost
Mhm.
that aspect of self in a sense. So I probably around 2012 started really focusing in on the Mayan calendar. And that
Of
was the
course,
beginning.
2012. 2012 was a big year, wasn't it? Jeez.
Exactly. And you could just feel it. I mean, plus my or rather my mom is Mexican. I had a real resonance with the Mayan. I was just always interested in that. So that's kind of kicked off my spiritual awakening, I would say, to really start looking into that aspect of Mayan astrology and the Mayan calendar and the cycles. Again, to know myself better and find maybe the different aspects of self, not just what I'm supposed to be in everyone's eyes and so then I started looking into Mayan. I would look at Native American astrology. I would look at Chinese astrology. I'll go out for Chinese food. Like, ooh, what am I? Okay, I'm the rooster. Just always fascinated about that. Let's see. I even looked at the Indian astrology too. So and what I would do is I would look for trends, and so keywords to say, okay, this is an attribute or could be an energy that I could see myself doing that, like it was a resonance thing. So after that, then started getting into numerology and astrology and combining that. And that really helped me just to really, it was just a passion. And it was just, oh, what's going to happen next? Like, or looking at somebody's chart, a natal chart, and then really deciphering the energies and just whatever I saw or however I interpreted the energy it actually started resonating with people, like for fun. And then I got to a point where my soul is no, you can't be in corporate anymore. You have to do something different and really look at who you are and who you're supposed to be now. Like not what everyone else wants you to be or what society wants you to be or expectations, because we're the unique blueprint of the creator, the divine, the universe, God, spirit, whatever word you want to source, whatever word you want to say, but we are a unique blueprint and we're all not the same. So I'm on the path of finding my blueprint and expanding my blueprint because I am so infinite, we are connected to the stars. What else? What other universes could I tap into as, me being the one aspect of a bigger, larger force of nature power that exists. So I think the journey of finding those other unknown or untapped aspects of self, I think that's what astrology could help, and other systems, because they are perspectives, right? And those other systems, Mayan or Indian, it showed me that even though we're part of this bigger process and we're part of a collective, we all have our different perspectives and how we see the world and our different stories. But at the same time, they're very similar in a sense. So it helps to bring the viewpoint at a more collective level, knowing that, oh, if I'm looking to go back to self or do things I love to do as a kid or things that bring me joy and to find out who am I'm not the only one. The Mayans are doing, the Indian, the Native American, the Chinese, even Jewish, so all the different perspectives. So that has helped me forge tribe too, as we are talking here, because it's this familiarity of this we're singing. Let's see, how do I say it? We're singing the same song, but in different languages.
Hmm.
And that's how it's navigate through the world and through the energies as we see the other, because we all have our own unique perspective. And
Hmm.
and while I think astrology can help you peer into yours or someone else's, we're all going to interpret astrology differently as well, because we're all so different. So that's what I love about astrology. Or yeah, that's what I love about astrology. And why.
Well, you, it's interesting as you're talking because you have other interests as well that you dive into, and you talked about, kind of your awakening in 2012. And you also, as part of your exploration, from what I know about you, you're also a sound bowl healer and a massage therapist. And so you've dabbled in different healing modalities. Do you feel that astrology has been kind of interwoven, especially with numerology? Do you think that all is tied together with how you work with energy or interpret energy and then translate that with your clients? I mean, how do you connect these aspects? Like, how is this connected for you?
I really look at whatever process that I had used to find my way back home is the same that I use for another client. So when I was in my former career, um, while it was very rewarding, and I learned so much, and the most what I learned is about the people and the mentoring and connection, and it was always about improving myself, helping improve the situation, whether it be evolution, just how can we make it better? Like how can we elevate ourselves? So there's a cohesive way, because because then you take the energies, and if once you're working together, and then all of a sudden you're cohesive, then you're able to manifest certain goals and objectives, right? And so at the time, I was in a corporate position, a manager position, and then I found that it's not something that I really wanted to do for the rest of my life, that particular job, and maybe just to expand my own self too. But when I found astrology and found that there were certain aspects that kind of, I'll say, validated, because at the time, trying to find myself and looking for any sort of confirmation that I'm going in the right path. It came to at least in the chart and the energies, was more along the lines of healing work or working with others, and in the more metaphysical aspect. And it was something that I loved and wanted to share. The more natural, organic parts of us, I guess. And I was really guided to let go of self and all of the comfort, safety, security that this wonderful job that I had offered me, and really take a risk on myself and do something different. And I started slow, but
I have a quick question, really quick, to
sure.
intercede to that.
Yeah.
Where in the chart did you see that? For people that are listening to this, say, I may be deciding on a career change. I might want to follow my passion in more of the healing arts, but I'm also in a corporate job. Where did you particularly look at that aspect in your chart to see that shift happening for you?
I saw that in actually the first house.
Okay.
The first house, because I was supposed to hear that, well, the North Node's in the first house. So it was like, I have to learn to be myself, the self, genuine self. And I guess I'll explain it. When I was in my job day to day, which is probably the sixth house of routine, was my moon. So I had to feel good in what I'm doing every day in order to excel. And the house of career being the 10th house too.
Okay.
There's also I can't remember what's even in my 10th house, but I think that's a Capricorn. But those three houses are pretty prominent. But mostly, okay. I think the sixth house, because the moon and how I felt. So if I don't feel like I'm joyous in what I'm doing, every day, why am I doing it? Like, at least it shows me what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
That would be good. But then what do I want to do? And
Yeah.
it's really, I'm here to create, and I'm here to be joyous, and I'm here to do that in every moment. And if I wasn't feeling it, it's not, it didn't feel right. So I
So the
really,
North Node points to that then? The North Node in astrology points to that feeling. So because the nodes of the moon point to our emotional body. And
yes,
what is your North Node that you've come to learn? What sign is that in?
it's in
First
Aries.
house. Aries. Okay.
Yeah, 0.0 degrees, Aries.
Okay.
So that is the child, that is the leader, that is being the leader within myself. That is, and really trusting myself, trusting my higher wisdom, trusting my knowledge. And I think at that time of my life, I was trusting everyone else to kind of, not everyone else, I kind of generalize, but obviously I'm not, I was strong enough to make my own decisions and follow things that I thought that I loved to do that would help make me more secure or successful or what have you. But I got to a point where I looked at, and I'm like, I happened to be working in an office, and I had a 45-minute commute one way. So I'm in the car 90 minutes, and then I'm sitting in a cubicle for 8+ hours a day. And I started like, I just heard this voice that said, you're not supposed to be doing this. Like, you're the beautiful creature that you are, and everyone else too, by the way. We're not put on this earth to sit in a box and work this 9 to 5 or Monday through Friday with a mortgage and a house we can't pay for because we're not, I mean, we pay for it, but we're never in it. So you're working all these hours. Like, I started really like getting this insight, like, this is not for me. And then I started looking at, okay, well, now you look at the sicknesses, or you look at those people that felt trapped, stuck, whether they're trying to repress their emotion with any kind of substance, and the medical issues, and then the stress and the short. I'm like, wait a minute. And then the children, the like, I just saw like a whole ripple effect, and it started with the chart of like, I have to love what I'm doing every day, no matter what, and when I found that I wasn't, and I saw most other people, not most, but at least those people around me at the time, just a lot of stress with the job. Kudos to those people who are in stress, but they are a teacher. It's taught me what I don't want, or at least taught me balance. And that's where these other modalities came in, where I first got a massage to alleviate the stress. And then my therapist said, well, what about Reiki? Have you ever tried Reiki? I'm like, no, what's that? So I was totally open to like learning and experiencing a different holistic or natural path, because I saw, those that maybe sleeping pills or anti-anxiety pills or whatever like that, they were all stressed out and side effects. And I'm like, sleepwalking and driving the car down the road. You hear all these stories, right? And I'm like, no, that's just not for me. I have to find a natural way. So between the massage and the energy and the meditation, essential oils, then sound, which I love music. That's my first passion. And then those modalities really helped to open me up and really look where I was holding certain beliefs, look to certain events in my life that have impacted how I see the world or how I am in the world. Whether it be, at the time I was more, probably more quiet, or not wanting to really fully express myself. It's a lot of self-judgment, of course, but that is funny. So that's actually what brought me here today. So like, Total Block podcast live. Oh my God, no way. And now it's like, yeah, okay, I'm ready. But but at that time, and I know people are going through this, others too, like there's just this journey that you take, that I've taken, and it's gotten to a point where little by little, it's an acceptance. It's like, okay, this is what happened. I don't need to hold on to it. And then an enlightenment, like, oh, this is why I may not like to express myself, because, you know, maybe somebody shot me down once and I didn't take criticism very well. And now I don't want to, you know. So learning how energy works within our physical, mental, emotional bodies and our spiritual bodies, that has really intrigued me, and I wanted to learn more. And all of a sudden, it's like, I was so excited once I had kind of a breakthrough, so to speak. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta share this with everybody. Like, they got to know at least a new perspective, a different perspective. And then really that passion took over, and my inner knowing said, yeah, this is the next step. This is where your next career is. And this is where others will see the benefits of. And it was really evident to me at the time in that corporate job, when I was asked to lead a meditation, and when I was feeling free to express myself with essential oils, or express myself with Reiki, and then started bringing that into my corporate life, probably over 7-8 years ago. And then seeing yoga in the corporate, like where the corporate actually started looking at it from a human resources perspective, and said, this will benefit our employees. And if you have a healthy employee, you have the productive employee, like people are productive, they're happy. So, you know, and when I was part of it, I really said, okay, well, I saw that this is the next phase. This is, and not next, but it's really us going back to the original ways that our ancestors have always have lived, either with the herbs, the land, with earth in general, lived in the balance of nature. And then I saw where we were out of balance, but I also saw intuitively it coming back. And now I just was, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go and start my own business, and HeartShine Healing. And at the time, I had open heart surgery when I was 5. So the time I named my business HeartShine Healing, because that's really a lot of my journey, or my blocks had to do with that event and the subsequent emotions that I felt after I had that surgery. You know, I was never on medication, but they said, okay, well, if you get tired, you have to stop. You know, the limits that we put on ourselves. Okay, well, I don't want any limit. I want to be limitless. You know, I just, you know, and it took me a while to get there, but I had to find out what the blocks were first. And then I was able to see it very clearly. Oh, it's the self-consciousness. Oh, I always feel maybe a little inadequate because I have this scar on my chest now. Oh, you know, and wouldn't wear low-cut shirts. So I was like 20. I mean, very like shy, like because people were like, what's that? What's that? And I felt like, oh my God, they're looking at me. Oh my God, you know, so it's so interesting, because the North Node is like, I gotta like be myself. But like, I was like, I could totally see where there's been a resistance to that, or yeah, resistance. I guess that would be the good word, but yeah. So now what I do is I take the astrology of a client just to kind of get an insight, combining astrology and numerology and to see where they may be holding certain or choosing to experience certain challenges or learn certain lessons as a soul. And that may have contributed to where the energy is blocked within their system or mental or emotional being. So for the moon example, if they're if the moon's in Capricorn, if their moon was in Capricorn, I'd be like, oh, okay, there's a lot more judgment or rigidity, you know, very much kind of condensed feeling of holding their emotion in, potentially, which could have led to why, you know, they're having troubles in relationships or sort. So that has added as a filter, as a tool to use, one of the many tools to help people get back to their hearts and really shine who they really are. And that's really how I use astrology and the other modalities, to really, you know, relax, reduce the stress between this, you know, the massage or the Reiki and the sound, and then the readings, whether it be, even I did tarot cards and oracle card readings at one time as well, and just looking at that and the numerology to kind of give them an insight and to help them see aspects of themselves that they don't see, as we always do, right? Everyone else could tell us, oh my God, oh my, great. But like, if you're like, really? Me? I don't know
Mhm.
about that. Really? Like, because the society has not allowed people to celebrate themselves. There's always been a more of a lower level look at, oh, you're being selfish or you're being conceited, or, and yeah,
Mhm.
there are aspects of that, but to celebrate somebody's and to let them love themselves, I guess that's more along the lines of self-love has not been a priority over the last few generations, let's face it. So
Yeah.
I think now we have to know ourselves and love all aspects of ourselves. And that's what my journey is right now, is loving all my aspects, my quirkiness, you know, and my smile, whatever it is, like my energy is just the energy and it's always evolving. So having compassion for that as well.
Do you think that there's a space for astrology within corporate?
Yes, I do. I do. I feel you could use astrology from a composite through relationships. Like if you're willing to look at the mentor mentee relationship, or the supervisor employee relationship. You could even use astrology as a business name. Like you could do a chart on a company when it was created, when it was formed. I actually did that for mine. When I looked at HeartShine Healing, I looked at the day that I launched, 1/11/2017, and what that energy meant and where the planets were at that time. And then even did a numerology reading on the actual name of my business, if it was fortunate or not, having a fortunate vibration or a neutral, or you could have a challenging vibration, we'll say. And I even did it on my name. So talk about ego death in a sense. I actually changed my name because of the vibration of my name and the numerology. So I was born Lissa, Lisa, but I added one more S, and I still pronounce it Lisa. That's so interesting, and it changed the vibration. And when I changed it, I even went down to probate and changed my name to really let go of, say, yes, I was born on this plane, I was given this name, and then I thought, well, shoot, if Madonna could do it and Prince could do it, why can't I? So I did, and I kind of let go of who I was, so to speak. And once I did, that's when everything shifted. That's when I opened the business and went to massage school and really started seeing more clients and expanding and growing into these healing modalities. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
fun
so
ride.
powerful. That's powerful to bring that awareness that, when it comes to energy, everything matters. How we label things, what we do, the numerology behind it, the days that we do it. You planting season, there's cycles upon cycles, and to know these cycles is to know thyself, and to, I feel, gather the most harmonious expression or possibility of that moment by just presence, by awareness that this is what possibly the energy is moving through, and why not utilize it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the practice, right? It's just the presence of tuning into your own energy at every moment. It's a skill that we are getting better at, meaning more conscious about. Even in the mainstream, you even see commercials about yoga or meditation, mindfulness, presence, and so it's in the collective. And now it's just, okay, we know we are energetic beings. Now we just have to anchor that in. We have to remember we are electromagnetic beings in this physical vessel having this experience, but we are not the vessel, we are the energy. Period. And that energy it just changes form. It never dies, it never stops, it just keeps going. And once you anchor that in, wow, magic.
Do you still see, so anybody listening to this podcast, especially that are curious about possibly career change and looking to astrology to help navigate, well, they can identify with your story. I'm in corporate or I have a specific position and I'm just being called. I know I'm here to do something different. Besides the North Node, would there be any other placements or aspects in the chart that you would invite people to look at? And then how do you work with that? How do you work with that energy to maybe take the action and take the step? I mean, did you just, decide to leave corporate and say, this is it, I'm going for it? Or was there like a process to it for you?
Yeah, there was definitely a process because I had to get over the fear of leaving something very stable
Mhm.
and something I was really good at and succeeded at and could have gone further or stayed within the company. But I really had to look at fear and my own ability and believing in myself. And where are the areas that I don't believe in myself? So as far as the astrology, I looked at the sun, like my own sun. So sun, Venus, what do you love? What do you want to attract? What do you value? The money, the love and money, material, and Mars. So a lot of all the personal planets for sure, and also Jupiter, because it comes down to if you, as I say, if you love what you're doing, you don't work a day in your life. So if you don't love what you're doing, why? Why don't you love what you're doing? What is it that, or what is it are the aspects of that certain job that you love and that you you wouldn't want to do? Like, how could you create your perfect job? All the money, all the resources, what would it be? And kind of walking through these conversations, and no limits, like try to help the mind not see, well, because these are the beliefs, right? The lack beliefs, the fear beliefs, I'm not good enough belief, someone else is doing it, the competition belief, whatever it is, helping to bring that to light, because those are all the same. That's the same process I went through. And I had to really, through meditation, reflect, a lot of self-reflection. So looking at these different areas within a chart in combination with the conversations of what do you love to do, mostly going back to childhood. So I would say, go back to your childhood, because that's what I did. What did I love to do? Well, I love astrology. I love stories. I love nature. I love being in nature. Then do that. Like, do more of that. I want more of that in my current life. Now that I'm older and I have more resources, I have more freedom, to explore, then let me, I'm in charge of this myself. So what do I want to do with my life, And how do I want to spend my time? How do you want to spend your time? And through these conversations within myself, that's where I'm like, I really don't want to do this for the next 8 years. I can't, because health wise, I don't think I'm going to make it. And then, okay, well, what do I want to do? Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to move into this career. I want to move into the wellness industry, right? So moving into this industry, and now what do I need to do? So a lot of it was market research. A lot of it was understanding how to set up a business, what entailed with the business. And plus that I had that business background, so easy to do it for everyone else instead of doing it for myself. Again, another lesson.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, well, wait a minute, if I could do it for everyone else, why can't I do it for myself? Okay, there's blocks there. What are the blocks? Fear of being successful, fear of the responsibility, potential, right? Okay, well, let's sit with that. And then when I sat with it, what really came to me is, well, I have a lot of skills that I've acquired over my life because I've worked in a few different jobs, a lot, mostly with the public. So I know I like to work with people between grocery or medical. I did banking. I did information systems, and then I worked for media. And but it was all with people and then managing. So all of those skills, I have earned them. I got my accounting degree, so I had certifications at that time, management training from my prior employer. that doesn't go away. So that's still part of my toolbox. So I could take that and move into a new and have it work for me. And if I fail, well, yeah, I guess it could go back to accounting or it could go back to managing people if I wanted to. Okay. It's so interesting. This inner dialogue is all coming back now. But yeah, I can do it. Oh, so don't worry. Okay, all right. Because the ego mind is my ego is, oh my God, all of the negative, all of the blocks, all of the what if scenarios, right? That are natural. Everyone's gonna think of that. And then just going for it. I had to like talk myself off the ledge, so to speak, because it was just like my higher self and my lower self were having this conversation. And they're like, okay, all right. Because I knew my heart wanted it. It's just now convincing my mind. Okay, so let the heart lead. The mind had to go through kind of a process in itself to say, okay, I'm not, I'm always going to be taken care of. I'm very capable of navigating through my career. And yes, it's something new, but that's the whole part of the challenge. Can I do this? That's where the growth comes in, right? Because and then part of it too is seeing myself almost identify with that person who I was in that old job. Is there, what else is in here? Like, am I just this person? No, there's more. I've come here to do more because my heart's telling me that. Now I got to convince the mind, okay, what else do you want to do? Okay, apply whatever you've learned and now move forward. And if you fail, that's okay. You've tried. You're learning. You're learning what to do, what not to do, how you can do it better. But you don't know until you try it. And then of course the money comes in, because then of course lack is huge, right? And everyone's belief system, because that's generational. So how do we get past that? No, we're never in lack. We always have abundance. You're always taken care of. It's just trusting yourself and trusting the higher power and your own higher self, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be for a reason. And you will never, unless you choose to have that experience. I mean, you're dictating your reality. So that's empowering in itself, and that has helped me move into this industry. And even in this industry, or this, in my skill sets and my experiences and all that I've done, even now I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, now what else do I want to do? So constantly evolving. So not just being stagnant, right? But if you're stagnant, that's a good reflection point too, again, because it's showing you, again, to trust your higher self, trust your inner knowing, even though in your deepest desire heart, you feel you want to experience something. There has to be a way for you to experience it, as long as it has to be true. Like if you keep getting pulled and things keep showing up for you, like the same, oh, I really love gardening. It'd be great if I did my own gardening, as an example. It'd be great if I opened my own greenhouse. I love working with the plants. Oh, but we'll do, like, start there. Okay. Why can't you do that? Well, it takes money, or it takes time, or okay, well, let's start part-time. And that's what I did. I started part-time, started, learning about the different modalities and sharing with clients and practicing on friends. And then, oh, wow. And then it was like, oh, that was great, Lisa. Here, boom, here. I loved it. Here's $20, or here's whatever. I mean, as a practice, like as I was learning, I'm like, oh, there's an energy exchange here. So I must be going in the right direction. I'm getting kind of a validation that what I'm doing was showing people another perspective of themselves, or helping them out, or how they feel about themselves. And that has shown itself to me, giving me the confidence to keep moving forward. So.
And it's interesting you're talking about the bravery and being willing to step out there. I think that's the North Node in Aries too, right? That's the kind of the theme with Aries, is being brave. And,
Yes.
I'm scared, but I got to do it anyway. And for those that are studying astrology, the North Node is what we've come to learn,
Yes.
right? So you've come, and the South Node is where you've come from or your experiences. So that, and it's always going to be the opposite of the North Node. So you've come from Libra relationships, and
Right.
now it's learning to be your own boss, your own inner, authority. Now, with your friends that are in corporate still that know you now, was
Mhm.
there a transition period? Do you feel like you're fully embodied now with this new persona, this
Yeah.
new Lissa Finelli, or people are more familiar with you
Yes.
in this realm?
Yes. Yes, because I've actually gone, I still talk to them, and I still have my friends there, and they've had sessions with me, or been in my sound bath, or wanted a reading, or reading for their children, and each time I've, there's been an impact, a positive impact, and a positive experience from the feedback that I've received. So, and they don't, it took me a long time to let go of that persona, but I feel fully now embodied. It's almost like a lifetime ago. Like, oh yeah, that's right. And I think it's interesting till I'm asked, right? How did you get here? I'm like, oh, I got to really sit and think about it, because I feel like a lot of times I'm traveling so fast, and I really try to practice presence so much so that it's just drops away, like the focus of being here. But getting back to um, those that are in corporate, friends, yeah, they have totally. I don't think they see me. I mean, yeah, remember when you get the stories and stuff, but and I have to sit for a moment, like, oh yeah, that's right, because I'm just you know in this space now fully. I mean, I've been since 2017, so yeah, that's a long time. So 5 years. So yeah.
What would you like to leave? And I'm so grateful for this conversation, Lissa, because it's, we just set the stage for an organic experience, an organic expression. And the way I feel the conversation is leading is to anybody listening to this that might be interested in a career in astrology or esoteric studies or, energy healing or different art forms. Is there any advice you would give to those that are like, I'm really done with my job. I really want to step into this, start part-time, do it small, but what is it that you feel that, the listeners would like to know in this now, really, that helped you kind of transition into this space, and people that are contemplating, like, I really want to do this, but, where do I start? What do I do? What advice would you leave us with the listeners? And especially in relation to not just astrology, but anybody that's experiencing any kind of life transitioning, you know, career change, or just wanting to be, constantly evolve and do something different. What advice would you leave?
um First, I would say to be honest with yourself, to really listen to your heart and what your heart is saying, and to really be honest with yourself, because we're each here to have our own experience. And once we start being honest with ourselves and really say, yeah, this is what I really want, it seems like that trust starts to get stronger within yourself. The energy itself seems to um, take a path of its own. Um, like it starts to grow, it starts to expand. And to, let's see, just to start listening to yourself and knowing yourself and accepting yourself, and really be, again, really be honest, to have that courage. Um, because we all have these gifts. I mean, we are creator beings. And the only thing that stops are the beliefs, and are our limits, really. Like, what kind of beliefs do you hold about yourself? Um, that would be my advice, to really, really reflect, take time for yourself. Because I think that's where you're going to start getting the next picture, getting the next step from your higher self to see, okay, what is the next step I have to do? As far as astrology, and wanting to learn astrology, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of research. I put together a class on astrology, again, just for the sake of having fun and talking about my passion, and having someone else learn and see it as a different perspective. And then I learned something new that I didn't even consider from someone that's, taking the class. So there's a lot of research out there. It's just really taking that time, really committing to yourself. Because we could talk about it. Yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. But if we don't act on it, Mars, if we don't act on it, that inspired action, you're not listening to your inner guidance, which is your feminine side, and then Venus, and then you have Mars, which is your inspired action. So if you have all these great ideas, but you don't take just the first step, you're always going to have an idea. You'll never manifest it. And if you're moving too quickly and you don't take the time to listen, well, you're constantly distracted, and you're not, it's like you're acting maybe for someone else's benefit and maybe not your own. So getting those two energies in balance, and just writing down, what do you like to do? What do you want to do? And how do you see yourself doing it? Can you visually, and can you use all your senses to manifest and actually see your life doing it? Whatever it is. You want to become a, I don't know, doctor or a vet or whatever it is. Can you actually see yourself doing that day to day? And yeah, I can see myself doing that day to day. And how does that feel like? When I first went into, I think the biggest driver for me is I wanted my freedom. I wanted freedom of my time, and free to live my life within a balanced way. And that was my driver. So what's driving you? Like, what is lighting you up to do? And now, okay, now that you figured it out, or maybe have an inkling, just ask somebody, or ask someone who's doing that, go sit with a vet or interview somebody and kind of learn more about the ins and outs of maybe owning your own business, or being a vlogger, or being an astrologer, or being into the holistic arts. What kind of tap into the knowledge and experience of others that have gone through it. But I will say, do not always own it, because that is their experience. So you are here to have your experience. And that's where, take it with a grain of salt, and just keep it in mind. Just keep it in mind. Everybody's different, and everyone's experience and journey is different. So my journey as learning astrology is totally different than Carmela's, or being a sound healer, or, so kind of take that information in, but yet trust your inner guidance, because it's always here. This is where you start. Your inner knowing and your higher self. That is who is guiding you always. And that is the practice. So start there. So I guess that would be my
Lissa, thank you so much. This has been such an epic conversation. Yeah. And I am so honored to have you here. It's one of the first podcast episodes for this series. This has been amazing. And anybody that wants to look for Lissa Finelli at HeartShine Healing, you can contact her. Are you still evolving? How can people find you when they listen to this and really enjoy your energy and want to, connect with you? Is there a way that they can connect with you? Are you still HeartShine Healing for now?
Yeah. Yes. For now, yes. HeartShine Healing, constantly evolving. But yes, for now, yes, you can reach me at heartshinehealing.com.
Okay.
And there's an email there, lisa@heartshinehealing.com, if you have any questions. And
there's a list of your services there, correct? So
yes.
People can go in, because you have, like I said, a wide array of modalities that you play with,
yes,
and that you help your clients with. And so, yeah, if you're wanting to connect with Lissa, please reach out to her, heartshinehealing.com, and I'll put the information below in the link. And again, thank you everybody for listening, for tuning into this. I'm so excited about expanding this content and having different astrologers. And Lissa, I would like to officially invite you back in to this space at a future time when it's called, as we are continuing to evolve and explore and grow. And, share some energy, share some knowledge, because there's a lot more that Lissa has to share. I mean, again, she's the tribe sister, and we've had some epic conversations. And so there's a lot of different avenues and ways that we can, connect and communicate. And I'm excited about having you back on the show. So thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being a part of this series.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Wonderful day.
So much love to you. Blessings. See you next time, guys.
Bye.